headlines. The FBI is uncovering thousands of records connected to the assassination of former President John F. Kennedy. The Bureau saying their search, quote, resulted in approximately 2,400 newly inventoried and digitized records that were previously unrecognized as related to the assassination case file. These new documents found after President Donald Trump signed that executive order for the release of all the files pertaining to the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Meanwhile, Donald Trump also signing an executive order yesterday ending a U.S. government effort to replace plastic straws with papers. We hated it.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes. And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark very much as they're munching their way through the ocean.
Nothing worse than an exploding straw. The move reverses former President Biden's push to phase out single-use plastics.
Nope.
Wow! Holy smoke! Holy potato!
Ladies and gentlemen, I have good and glorious news for you, and it's the reason why our stream was a minute late this morning. We have broken news of the FEMA top official, chief financial officer, Mary Comas, has been fired by President Trump. The top official at FEMA, breaking here first, ladies and gentlemen, directly from our sources at DHS, FEMA is being gutted by Donald Trump. This is the person in charge of billions of dollars in funding for FEMA, who defied, and please put it up, who defied President Trump and sent $60 million to criminal aliens in New York for luxury hotels, fired. Here's her photo. We heard that they would be gutting positions. We didn't know it'd be the number one person at FEMA. How sick is the rot inside of our federal government? Breaking news this morning. This is your front seat to the golden era. Expect a lot more of this. We're working on some very big and very breaking stories. We are a dog with a bone. We are not going to let up on these corrupt, sickening bureaucrats. More on the chief financial officer of FEMA getting walked out of the building by security, which is what just happened in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. The FEMA employees that have been fired, we will go more into detail with you on this. We will also talk about how Democrat politicians are assaulting reporters in Washington, D.C., who are trying to ask questions about how they became so filthy rich. Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren among them. And we'll have those reporters live on our show. Nick Sortor will be on the show today with shocking videos of getting assaulted, a tomahawk chop, by Elizabeth Warren. Also, Chairman James Comer will be on the program to talk about a massive press conference that he and Anna Paulina Luna are going to be having later in the day about secret JFK files, UFO files, apparently massive numbers of declassification through Congress and oversight. We're going to talk to James Comer all about it live on the program here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. I have to tell you that it's nice to be right. And we, with regularity, Klein, you can take the tweet down. With regularity, we are often able to predict the future on this show, not because we have a particularly high IQ. I'm just a dude who went to community college. I am just a regular dad like you, I was up literally all night long with my kids. The flu, apparently there's this like nasty flu that's ripping through the entire country, whole nation. Everybody I know's got it, and my kids now got it. So Killer Klein is staying far away from me in the studio today. We're right because we are able to recognize patterns. And pattern recognition is our superpower. And we follow these things very, very closely. And there's a shocking pattern that's occurred with precious metals. Precious metals and the purchasing of precious metals has gone apoplectic, through the roof, and gold is now trading higher than it's ever been. And if you were listening to me a couple of years ago, oh man, you'd be in the money. Of course, now is the exact right time to consider diversification of your finances. Do it with my friends at Advantage Gold. I trust them. I get my gold and silver from them, and I recommend them to absolutely everyone. This is where successful investors diversify into physical precious metals. If you're looking to own physical gold, especially inside of your retirement accounts, text Benny to 85545. Now with Advantage Gold, you can get 100% free zero obligation gold investment guide. Plus, you could qualify for $1,000 in free silver. One more time, text Benny to 85545. Join America's new generation of smart investors and wealth. Text Benny to 85545. All right, so I will warn you that we will probably be drinking lots of water this morning. My wife and I we were literally up every single hour of the night last night, and I'm fighting back against our own special version of something that I'm sure was created in a laboratory just for me by Dr. Fauci. But we are going to lock and load. We would never miss a show right now because the golden era is upon us, and because we have so much work to do. I want to start by explaining that this is a test for the administration. I want to put up this article here. 4 FEMA employees fired for paying for hotel migrants in New York City. First off, I'm so disgusted by this. Stop using the term migrants. They're criminal aliens. They're not migrants. Your great-great-grandparents, who were probably migrants, came here legally. Ellis Island, who knows? That's the way most people come to America. Somewhere down their lineage. Your grandparents were migrants. They left Italy or England or Germany or whatever, seeking a better life, to immigrate legally into this country, become farmers, prospectors, laborers, whatever. These people are criminal aliens. So I cannot emphasize enough, we have never said the term migrant on the show, and we never will. This is FEMA funding criminals with your tax dollars. These are the same people, let's put up the Nick Sortor tweet, please, about East Palestine. The same people who wouldn't and couldn't get any money to East Palestine, victims of a chemical bomb attack from the federal government, to the poor individuals in Lahaina, in this working class community that got burned to cinders, who were told by the federal government to stay in your homes as the entire city got torched to the ground, probably to make way for some new Oprah development. Or the people in western North Carolina. Or how about my state of Florida, where just up the way, in a county that is adjacent to where we broadcast, FEMA ordered their own agents to go door to door checking to see if people had Trump signs, Trump flags, American flags in their yards. If they did have those things, then they weren't going to get any aid. This FEMA, who has regularly said, we're out of money, we have no money, we have no resources, we have no capacity, dropped $60 million in payments to criminal aliens in the form of luxury hotel stays in downtown Manhattan, arguably the most expensive hotels on earth. Go check the prices of what it costs to stay in New York. We were up there, when was the last time we were in New York? We went for the Trump rally. Yeah, Madison Square Garden rally. Ladies and gentlemen, let's read, and then we have breaking news and a exclusive quote, trust me, whenever we're a minute late, it's only because we are working our tails off for you to get you as much news as we possibly can. We have breaking news exclusively on this program, an exclusive statement from a top official at DHS about the individuals who were fired. It gets so much worse. But here's what Fox had this morning, and then we added to their reporting. The Department of Homeland Security told Fox News that 4 employees are being fired for circumventing leadership and unilaterally making egregious payments to hotels and migrants in New York City. The firings come after Elon Musk wrote on X that the Doge team discovered that FEMA sent $60 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. Criminal aliens, but fine. Firings include FEMA chief financial officer, 2 program analysts, and a grant specialist. DHS said under President Trump's Secretary Noem's leadership, DHS will not sit idly by and allow the deep state activists to undermine the will and safety of the American people. Musk said in a message that the money was meant for Americans' disaster relief and instead is being spent on high-end hotels for illegals. You can see this photo right here. This is what the streets of New York City look like. Pretty remarkable. Can you jump over into the shorts chat and grab me the before and after of President Trump? Before and after of this street right here. Because when we were in New York, we walked through the streets. Look at how despicable. Look at what your country's become under these people. People with no shoes, sleeping in the streets with blankets on cardboard. Your country has been reduced to third world conditions under a leadership that wants third world conditions because third world conditions are easy to control. You can control people when they're starving and they don't know where they're going to sleep and they don't know where they're going to live. When they don't have any money or any capacity to speak the language, you can control those people very easily. They become wards of the state. And of course, they'll do anything to dance for their dollars. And so this is what the streets looked like in New York City before and after President Trump. This was a spectacular video of this dude walking down the streets. Just show you a little look of what the country looks like when people who are running it actually love this country. We got this one, Klein? That's less rock and roll.
Manhattan in New York City. I am literally telling you, every single day, right here where the Empire State Building is at, this is 34th, whatever, and Broadway 6th Avenue, right? They intersect there. This right here, this whole area, wrapped around left and right, you usually have your freaking illegals with the blankets out, selling like bootleg stuff. It has been empty since Trump started deporting people. Like rain, sleet, or snow, this whole block, that whole block over there, all this would be laid out with bootleg stuff by illegals. This whole strip gone. I haven't seen them for about a week. Have not seen them. That side as well. He cleaned it up. This is incredible. Look at this. I have not seen this in years.
This is how you win blue cities, actually. ALX gonna love this clip. This is exactly where we filmed a Betty on the Block, right there. Right on that corner, we filmed a Betty on the Block, right on that corner, and we stayed in that hotel right there for Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. This is just blocks away from Madison Square Garden. And it was filthy. I mean, it was disgusting. Here's just some clips of what New York City looked like because FEMA was funding it, because you were having your taxpayer dollars stolen at gunpoint, and we're funding this. The third worldization of your country. They want these people in the nation because they want individuals who are totally subsistent on the state. The state can then tell them how to vote. They can tell them how to live. They can tell them what their values are. These people are completely and totally dependent. They have nothing. The government wants that relationship with you. This is the relationship of evil Marxists and tyrants. They want you to be helpless, to be totally and completely controlled, a serf. And this is what they were trying to create. And God help me, if Kamala Harris had won, if we had not united together and stopped all of this, this is what the entire nation would look like. We must now root out the people who did that. So we stopped Kamala Harris. We stopped Joe Biden. We've eliminated and eradicated so many of these programs and the individuals who were funding this and who were creating these conditions, like Secretary Mayorkas. But the rot goes so much deeper. Breaking, ladies and gentlemen, on from us exclusively this morning, Mary Comins is the chief financial officer, confirmed to me by DHS, who was fired. She is the most powerful person at FEMA. She controls billions in funding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very, very big. FEMA told me in a quote, under President Trump, please pop it up. Under President Trump and Secretary Noem's leadership, DHS will not sit idly by and allow deep state activists to undermine the will and safety of the American people. Here's a photo of now disgraced Mary Comins. You can still find her resume on the FEMA website, and you can still find humiliating videos of her. It's kind of shocking. The videos of her saying that it's her job to make sure that FEMA funds are spent appropriately and responsibly. Check this out.
Hello, my name is Mary Comins, and I serve as FEMA's Chief Financial Officer. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the CFO organization. FEMA's mission is helping people before, during, and after disasters. And I'm excited that you've joined the team and are considering how to further enhance your skills and support the agency and the citizens we serve. Here in the CFO organization, we have 3 strategic priorities. Build an empowered, experienced, and engaged workforce, promote organizational alignment and collaboration, and mature the business processes across the agency. Our job is to ensure the best use of the resources entrusted to us. And every one of you.
Our job is to ensure the best use of the resources entrusted to us, says the lady who just illegally sent $60 million for criminal aliens in luxury hotels. So Mary Comins was walked out by security today and may be facing criminal charges. According to my sources at DHS, they are not ruling out the charges of gross insubordination, misuse, and mismanagement of taxpayer funds. President Trump has ordered that no FEMA funds be spent on illegal criminal aliens. President Trump has ordered a halt on new spending until there can be full DOJ reviews. This is criminal behavior, and this is why I say it's a massive test. This is going to be a massive test for Pam Bondi, who, as you know, we love and is our friend and somebody who we've worked with down here in Tampa. This, along with the ICE raid, which was foiled by an FBI agent. Do we have that, by the way? If not, grab me Tom Homan on that, please. A ICE raid for Tren de Aragua, which is the criminal gang that has been raping, pillaging, and murdering throughout the country. A raid was foiled, was stopped, and they got tipped off apparently by an FBI agent. What does that tell you? That's why I'm saying these are big tests for Pam Bondi. I don't want Mary Comins, let's put up her photo. I don't want her to just be humiliated and publicly disgraced and walked out of the building. It's not about that. I don't want her security clearances to be stripped and for her to lose her pension, right? That's not good enough. She just illegally embezzled, because we all know how the system works, illegally embezzled tens of millions, which is probably just a drop in the bucket, from the taxpayers by refusing to fund Americans who are in need from legitimate disasters in Lahaina, East Palestine, or Western North Carolina, and instead funding criminal aliens and luxury hotels, which, of course, you all understand how this goes. You fund the hotels take all the money, then they use it to fill the campaign coffers of Democrats who run for office. This was the entire fraud at USAID. USAID gives a grant to a liberal NGO. That grant is for $1 billion. Each person at the NGO gets $20 million salaries, and then all that money gets funneled into Democrat campaign coffers. That's why they're losing their minds. That's why Democrats are staging insurrections and assaulting reporters. It's not enough to say, oh, your security clearance is gone now. Ha, you don't get a little desk at FEMA anymore. Because what will happen to this individual is she, like a rat, like a cockroach, she'll just scurry into the next, Americans Defending Democracy Worldwide for Freedom, right? Like organization. Okay? She'll go right over there and she'll do the exact same thing. What needs to happen is prison for a very long time. These are criminal acts, and they must now be punished. Here's Tom Homan talking about how an FBI agent was leaking to a Venezuelan criminal gang what ICE was about to do to round them up. Here we go.
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside, and we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation. And they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it. We got the DHS IG investigating the first one. Have a pretty good idea what happened. Can't share a lot because it's under investigation, but the IG's opened up a criminal investigation on the second one. We're sending a strong message. It's just not, giving the bad guys a heads up so they can escape apprehension. Right? We're arresting, giving the Venezuela gang a heads up so we can't arrest them. You're putting officers' lives at risk. It's only a matter of time if we walk into a place where there's going to be a bad guy doesn't care. He's going to be sitting and wait for the officers to show up and ambush him.
Tom Homan is sitting there saying, we must criminally prosecute. I cannot emphasize this enough. You have to end their free life. You have to put them in jail. Guantanamo Bay, federal prison. You must lock them up. If you want to make examples out of these people and say, no, you're not allowed to insubordinate the commander-in-chief. This is not how the government works. Then you have to say, here are the criminal charges. Listen, if they could lock up 2,000 Americans for trespassing on January 6th, these people did nothing, they're just peaceful protesters, then how much more could you find the federal charges to put Mary Comas in prison for defying the president, for squandering illegally $60 million of the taxpayer money? And that's probably, again, a rounding error, a decimal point, based on how much money she's embezzled for the Democrat Party and on behalf of spending for Americans in disaster areas. Right. Every person who spent FEMA dollars on criminal aliens should face criminal charges. But you should make an example here. You should find the FBI agent that leaked the ICE raid, find that FBI agent, frog march them out of the FBI with all the cameras. You must ask for cameras. You have to get all the cameras there. You have to get the agent in handcuffs with their head up. You need to walk them out of the building, put them in a cop car, lock them up, deny them bail, and then bring the most severe federal charges possible. Please try them in Texas. Try them in Florida. Bring the charges here. Because obviously, if the FBI agent stopped a raid, then this could be a jurisdiction where the vast majority of gang activity occurs. You could make an argument that you could bring these charges in these jurisdictions. Try them outside of Washington, D.C., and bring them before a jury. And get 60 years. of criminal penalties or life in prison and splash that headline up. We'll help. We'll do the work like we're doing here. We're happy to name and shame these people. But the only way that you stop this is if there are consequences. My security badge is gone. That's not enough. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened on Friday was there was an insurrection, speaking of an actual insurrection. And Democrat members of Congress went and screamed outside of federal buildings and yelled at the government workers who were standing there, stopping them from insurrecting, from doing a takeover of a federal building. So you're Maxine Waters, but other low information, low IQ members of Congress were there harassing federal employees, screaming and demanding to be let in. DHS actually had to call security. Actually, armed DHS agents had to remove the Democrat members of Congress from this. These people are spiraling. Maxine Waters is the ringleader, a complete thug and a gangster, somebody who also should probably catch a case. I would very much like to see the January 6th charges that were brought against peaceful protesters brought against these Democrat members of Congress. You can't, I have the footage, you can't tell me that what they're doing here is any different than what anyone did on January 6th. At least 99.999% of people on January 6th. So they're spiraling. Democrats are at a loss for how to protect the institutional power that funds all of their campaigns, all their NGOs, all their family members, all of the dark money liberal groups. They're having a meltdown over this. Maxine Waters screaming at Elon Musk and threatening Elon Musk and doxing federal officials. Here we go.
Wow, wow, wow. Look at this crowd. Elon Musk, where are you? Bring your ass over here so you can see who's here and what we're doing. We're not afraid of you. We know that you are the co-president now of the United States of America. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to follow very closely what he's doing and how he has done it. First of all, we're here at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. What is it? This is so important. Prior to this being organized in the Dodd-Frank reforms, consumers didn't have any place to really file complaints.
Oh man, that's rich for Maxine Waters. Talking about banking regulations? Really, lady? This is the same lady that faced sanctions in Congress and was listed as the #1 most corrupt member of Congress because she put her husband on a board of a bank that she was regulating during the financial crisis of 2008. Do you not understand how corrupt Maxine Waters is? She's going to sit there outside of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Much like FEMA, by the way, President Trump, my producer is telling me President Trump just responded to our FEMA reporting. Please grab that. I'm going to put that up. President Trump just responded to our reporting seconds ago on Truth Social saying that he's probably going to get rid of FEMA entirely. That is too corrupt of an organization. Elon Musk saying the same thing about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, who, again, if you have a bureau called Protect the Children in Washington, D.C., and it's funded by USAID and dark money, octopus blob NGOs, you know that what that organization does is probably traffic children. It's just whatever it is the opposite of the name, okay? FEMA is not for the helping out of Americans. It's for the moving in of criminal aliens to make your country less safe and to fund these criminal aliens so that they can destroy Western civilization and your nation. It's the opposite. It's just the opposite. It's so unbelievably Orwellian. Maxine Waters is there demanding the protection of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yeah, which is done the exact opposite. Maxine Waters was called on this egregious hypocrisy by one of our friends, Nick Sortor, who's a journalist. He's independent, and he has the brass balls to walk up to these Democrats and to ask them real questions. He got assaulted multiple times yesterday by the staff of Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren. We'll play you these clips right now. Imagine for like even a second if a Republican member of Congress had their goon squad out punching reporters. Here's what happened to Nick when he tried to ask questions of Maxine Waters.
She's got to go get in her big black taxpayer-funded SUV.
Oh yeah, that's what happens when you're a member of Congress.
No, that's what happens when you don't have transparency in the government. Why do you deserve a big black taxpayer-funded SUV? Is that why you're so against Doge? Is that what the problem is? What's up with the lack of transparency in your... What's the problem with transparency? Who the fuck are you? Why are you pushing? What is the problem with Doge? What is the problem with... Shut the fuck up.
Do you remember Jim Acosta writing an entire book about Trump's attack on the free press? Had you ever seen a single instance where anybody laid a hand on Jim Acosta? Accosted Acosta? No. In fact, I have clips that can show you that Jim Acosta accosted White House staff members. We actually have the footage. This is weaponized autism, ladies and gentlemen. I know the producers are grabbing it right now. This is the footage is 7 years old, but Jim Acosta actually fighting and physically fighting with White House staffers, pushing and punching at them. It's the opposite of what they say. We live in a bizarro world. But there, I can just show you a clip of an independent journalist getting assaulted by the security of a top-ranking, very famous Democrat member of Congress. Why is this not national news? It's gone viral on X. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is Elizabeth Warren and her staff doing the exact same thing, except for this time it was Elizabeth Warren giving the elbow to the journalist. We have it on tape. Here we go.
To shut down.
So Senator Warren, why are you so afraid of transparency? Why are you bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending? What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparency? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress? How did you do that?
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk, so get off of me. So you don't want to answer that question. What is it about Doge that's such a problem to you? You just elbowed me, Senator. I got that on camera.
Excuse us. Thank you.
Transparency is your enemy.
Nick Sortor, independent journalist, just got tomahawk chopped by Pocahontas. Here's another angle of it. You can see here the senator literally taking her sharp elbows and jamming it against the camera. So there's multiple times in the same day that this independent journalist was shoved or stopped from reporting the news, asking questions of elected officials. This is an assault on democracy. It's a constitutional crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is the journalist who is brave enough to stand in the face of these Democrats and ask questions like, here's a good one. How did you become worth $22 million on a taxpayer-funded salary that's $147,000 a year? And that's before taxes. This is all that Nick was trying to ask Elizabeth Warren, and he got tomahawk chopped. And so, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, I'm not sure from the hospital or the emergency room, but we'll see, is the great independent journalist Nick Sortor. Nick, what's up, brother? Well done. It still confounds me that this isn't the #1 news story in the world right now. You were assaulted multiple times by Democrat staffers, and they just can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new here, Benny. I mean, they for whatever reason, they're not used to reporters asking them tough questions and actually, pressing them. They're called the press, but they don't do any press. They don't put any pressure on the Democrats ever. And we saw this a similar situation on Maui. when the mayor's people were pushing up on me, and I got put in a headlock by one of his people just for asking about, the numbers of people that were missing and dead out there. And in this situation, you see me asking Elizabeth Warren about her net worth. I feel like that's a very, very fair question. And it seems to be that one of the reasons that they're scared of this transparency is because it's going to reveal how she ended up with a $12 million minimum net worth on a $174,000 salary. I mean, look, man, I'm not a mathematician, but the math ain't mathing, Benny. I don't understand.
I've, again, seen Jim Acosta. Here's video of Jim Acosta at the White House accosting a White House staffer. This guy built his entire career off of saying that there's an attack on the press. And in the time span of 2 hours, you had your camera shoved. I believe that's what happened with Maxine Waters. So, a member of her security punched over at your camera and blocked your shot. And then you had a very well-known Democrat senator who was running for president just a few years ago elbow you in the side. This seems to be grounds, I think, for a larger national conversation about the goons these people actually are.
Yeah, absolutely. And Benny, what you can't tell from the video is because when Maxine Waters staffer, well, first of all, I'll tell you real quick, it is not easy to ask questions and think very well and think through these things when you're being shoved and grabbed. And, I had actually Ayanna Presley's goon squad grab me by my jacket and pick me up. I haven't even posted that video yet, Benny. It gets worse. But asking her those questions, and they tried to literally take my phone. I had to fight to get my phone back from them. It's because I was recording like this, and they grabbed it and started pulling it out of my hands, literally trying to take my phone. This is after they attempted to steal my AirPods. They pulled my AirPod out of my ear, this one of the Elizabeth Warren people, and then ran away and hid it somewhere. I ended up being able to find it with the Find My iPhone app. She grabbed it, and threw it, and then chased me down and said that I assaulted her and was stealing her AirPods, even though she had literally stolen my AirPods. These people are crazy. They're mentally ill. They don't have any answer. And that includes these senators and Congress people at this point. Maxine Waters is easily one of the dumbest members of Congress, can't answer simple questions, doesn't want voter ID, but demands ID from a poor staffer from outside the Department of Education who's doing his job and not letting her raid the place. They're hypocrites. They're not particularly bright, and they can't answer questions. That's why they don't. They're incapable of doing so. It's as simple as that.
This is nothing compared to what Republicans have to deal with every single day on Capitol Hill. So Republicans, members of Congress, are constantly barraged by reporters who chase them into elevators, who harass them, who are funded by USAID in order to make their lives a living hell. And all you're doing is turning the tables and simply asking legitimate questions. This is a huge question. How did they all get so rich? Maxine Waters was named the most corrupt member of Congress. Elizabeth Warren is worth tens of millions of dollars. Nobody can figure out exactly why. So this seems completely and totally legitimate. Yet you're assaulted for this. There's a new sheriff in town, Nick. Ed Martin is the new D.C. district attorney appointed by President Trump. Have you considered reaching out to potentially file charges for assault against these Democrat members and their staff?
No, I think somebody definitely has to. But the issue that we have here is that I would have to go, as far as I'm aware, to the D.C. district attorney, the district of, the city of Washington, D.C. would have to be the ones to bring assault charges against these people. And the chances, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that would ever happen. There's a clear double standard here in Washington, D.C. But, Ed Martin's a good guy. He might just reach out and we'll just see. We'll see what his response is.
Well, it happened, the way that it works is it's his jurisdiction because it happened on federal property, and this is how they were able, the D.C. district attorney can charge anything that happens in Washington, D.C., and you were in Washington, D.C. And
beautiful.
So,
that's what I'll do right after this then.
Well, there we
go. We're getting places here on the Benny Show, man.
Don't take legal advice, but I'm telling you, this shouldn't be This shouldn't be tolerated. You have a right. You have a right protected under the First Amendment to simply ask questions. And you weren't being violent, right? You weren't pushing or you weren't pushing or fighting anyone or punching anyone. They were punching.
No, I was the one taking the punches and taking the pushes. That was me. I wasn't blocking anybody. I wasn't, I'm not getting in their paths. I'm, simply trying to get an answer to a question. There's no aggression. The only aggression there is asking aggressive questions that they don't like.
Yeah, sure.
It's as simple as that. Ayanna Presley, you're talking about the FEMA situation. I asked her directly in a video that I'm about to post. I asked her if she condoned FEMA sending $59 million to house illegals in New York City while people in Western North Carolina had been living in tents for the past 4 months. And I got the death stare of a lifetime. It was like a ghetto death stare, Benny. You're going to see. I mean, I've never gotten that look from a congressperson before, but it's like a look of intimidation. Because, they think they're gods. These Democrat Congress people think they are gods, that they're untouchable and that nothing will ever happen to them. I'm here in D.C. now. I'm going to live here in D.C. and I'm going to do this on a routine basis. So they should be ready for it. Maybe I'll have to wear a mask like their masked minions so that they can't recognize me.
Fantastic, man. We'd love to make you the official correspondent of the Benny Show, and we can find fun plots together. I mean, it'd be really nice to ask Ilhan Omar about her immigration status and her brother and how she actually got into this country and what crimes she committed. This is going to be a much larger story, Nick, that we're working on right now with individuals who have a lot of knowledge of some of the dark past of Ilhan Omar. So more to come there. I might ask to see if you might want to go ask the Congresswoman from Minnesota a few questions. But
I know exactly where her office is too. So it's I think we can make something happen, Benny.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here. You went thermonuclear. You went viral with this post, which I think is so profound from you because unlike any other journalist, you actually went to these places. You were in Lahaina. You joined our program from Maui. You were in Western North Carolina. You did the exact same thing from a Starlink. You've actually gone to these places, East Palestine, and you've engaged with those in these communities, those individuals who have been totally abandoned and forgotten about, disrespected, and spit on by their federal government, by FEMA, told they have no money. You can only get $700. And then at the same time, behind their back, FEMA is funding hundreds, billions probably, for criminal aliens in this nation. This has got to have a very profound effect on you since you've actually been there. Talk me through what does this mean to somebody who's had their entire lives destroyed, who's here legitimately as an American, and then they see these criminal aliens getting lavished by the federal government?
Man, I'm telling you, the change in their attitude over the past several months has been really heartwarming. But, talking about the stuff that was happening while these disasters were going on, especially once you got to Maui, once they got to Maui and the place had burned down and FEMA was, MIA. That's the situation every single time. You never see FEMA. And they had already heard what the people of East Palestine went through. So they had very little hope from the get-go that they were going to be taken care of. And the same thing with Western North Carolina, the people living in tents by the side of the road and getting, living day to day thinking that they're going to be evicted by FEMA the next day because FEMA would do that. They'd give you 24 hours notice and evict you for no reason. That ended right at the day that Trump took office. That ended. They moved the date way out until May. So those people know that they have housing until at least May. It may even get extended again because the government is taking forever to clear these plots. The people of Lahaina still aren't allowed to go to their homes without a permit. That's how bad it is out there. And Trump has sent in massive teams from the Army Corps of Engineers that are clearing these plots at a much faster rate now. And you have to ask, Benny, why didn't Biden do this? Does he really, is it gross incompetence or do they really hate these people that much? I fail to believe that anybody can possibly be that incompetent. The Army Corps of Engineers, I don't work in government. I've only been doing this for a couple of years, but even that seems like a super obvious thing to do when, you have to pave the way for people to be able to rebuild. I don't know why Biden sat on that and didn't use that in Western North Carolina or Maui. But now they have some hope, and it makes me feel a lot better. Benny, one more thing on that. We were all called liars. We were called fake news. I was community noted time after time after time for calling out FEMA and saying they weren't here. They're not doing anything. Nobody has seen them. I get community noted and says, oh, FEMA put out a statement saying they're on the ground. Okay, I'm on the ground. I don't see them. You're lying.
Do you believe that there should be criminal charges for the FEMA employees that went around President Trump's back and funded criminal aliens and defrauded the American taxpayers, misused and mismanaged this, and engaged in insubordination? We made some news this morning talking about the FEMA chief financial officer who was frog marched out of the FEMA headquarters after being found to be the individual, her name's Mary Comas, who was running a shadow government behind Trump's back and was spending it's not tens of millions, it's hundreds of millions, most likely, of taxpayer dollars illegally behind the president's back. I mean, as justice for the Americans who have been so disrespected and ignored by FEMA, what do you think should happen to these feds?
There needs to be an example set here. This is the time. This is gross insubordination. It's misuse of taxpayer funds at the highest level. Make an example out of them, because this is going to keep happening. These people are, they think that there's some sort of social justice warriors for whatever reason, and they think that they're martyrs going down with the ship. No, you're criminals. You're stealing taxpayer money to fund your social pet projects and probably even launder money through these. And we know that there's a lot of money laundering going on through these NGOs to Democrat PACs and campaigns and places like the Red Cross, where that's another big thing that FEMA spent billions of dollars with, were NGOs like the Red Cross, who are literally handing out maps, sending people to the southern border, telling them how to get there. I mean, they're facilitating an invasion, and I guarantee you this lady had a hell of a lot to do with that. I mean, she was the CFO. She was the one making the calls on who got the money and when and how quickly. And she's also the one at the same time that was directly denying payments to people living in tents in Western North Carolina. That's not just criminal, it's evil, Benny. She needs to go to prison.
Yes. That's how you stop it. This is how, you must have consequences. Every single parent knows this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a safer country and a better country with more truth, you must follow Nick. I cannot emphasize this enough. Nick's account is just an absolute vehicle for truth. He's one of the few real journalists out there. One of the only people that is actually properly fearless in the face of entrenched power. Go follow Nick right now. He's on his way to 1 million subs. 770,000 Americans. Can't be wrong. Nick, Godspeed, man.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate you, man.
Ooh, man, baby. We told you that President Trump has responded to our reporting this morning, and it happened live during the show. So here we go. The front seat to the golden era, ladies and gentlemen. The golden man himself speaking about FEMA, saying maybe it's time to just do away with it. What do you think? FEMA spent tens of millions of dollars in Democrat areas disobeying orders, but left the people of North Carolina high and dry. It's now under review and investigation. Biden-run FEMA has been a disaster. FEMA should be terminated. Slow and totally ineffective. Individuals, states should handle storms, etc. as they come. Big savings, far more efficient. Member of Congress, and we'll be joined here in just a moment by James Comer. We're very excited about it. Member of Congress was on our show, a real homie. His name's Corey Mills. He was doing a lot of work with survivors of the disaster after the hurricanes. He was one of the first people to break the story about the FEMA denials of financing and assistance because people had Trump signs in their yards. This is a civil rights violation, by the way. This should be charged by Harmeet Dillon, a friend of the show, somebody who's been on the show multiple times. Harmeet Dillon will be now the new Deputy Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. And she should charge those people with civil rights violations who denied support for Trump voters here in Florida. But when Corey Mills was on the program, I said, okay, so what's the better way to do FEMA? And he said, just give block grants to states to deal with the disasters themselves. You can still coordinate. You can still make sure that the money's being spent correctly, but the states are going to be able to spend it better than the feds. And we just couldn't agree more. I mean, now that we are seeing the rot and the decay inside of this organization, man, I'm telling you, we are totally in agreement for that. What could happen? President Trump could issue an executive order sending the FEMA money that's been allocated to Congress directly to the states via block grants. I think that would be a better way for your state to use the money. Where are you living right now? Again, I live in Florida. Let me tell you what, the leadership, especially the local leadership here in Tampa, which was hit by a pretty bad hurricane. And I know a lot of friends who lost their homes and lost quite a bit. My entire neighborhood was gutted. We've done multiple videos about it. All my neighbors had their entire houses, completely ripped apart. The leadership here in the state, from the governor, but then down to the local levels, were so efficient, we're so sharp, we're so responsive, we're so capable. They're the ones who helped us when we got smashed by a hurricane. They're the ones here in the state of Florida that were able to come in and actually save people, not the feds. So why not just give more money to that state? Hopefully you're watching from a red state and you're watching from a state that would have proper leadership. So why not give the money to Sarah Sanders, right? Or Bill Lee in Tennessee. Give the money to the governors in these states and let them decide how best to serve the people. A republic works best when your leadership is local, when the people who are able to control your life the most are the ones who are closest to you. That's how everything's gotten so lopsided in this country, actually. It's because somehow godlike powers have been bequeathed on the federal government, and that's the worst possible way to run a country, with people in a far-off land making decisions about your life who clearly don't care about you and who clearly don't care about how they're spending this money. So return it to the states. We're totally in agreement for that. Speaking of financing, ladies and gentlemen, our friends at American Financing can help you get out of debt this year. Americans still have kitchen table problems. A lot of us are carrying high credit card debt and balances that charge us 20% or more each month. It's time to get rid of those. Homeowners, if you've been waiting to figure out how to get your finances in order, you need to call my friends at American Financing today. Their salary-based mortgage consultants can help you save right now. Call American Financing today at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Get out of debt now. Don't be like the federal government. Get out of debt right now. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Ladies and gentlemen, we are extremely excited about this series of bombshell revelations from inside of the federal government. First, beginning with the FBI saying they discovered JFK documents, thousands of them, here according to Axios yesterday. The FBI finds secret JFK assassination records after Trump order. FBI discovered 2,400 records tied to President Kennedy's assassination. Sorry that I have to actually say that, but it's true. There was an assassination attempt against Donald Trump. There have been multiple. But the assassination of Kennedy is who we're talking about here. I'd love to see the Trump assassination docs just as much. That were never provided to a board tasked with reviewing and disclosing these documents, Axios has learned. The still secret records are contained in 14,000 pages of documents the FBI found in review triggered by Trump's January 13 executive order demanding the release of JFK assassination records. The discovery, 61 years after Kennedy was killed in Dallas, follows decades of government reluctance to release all documents related to the assassination, which fueled a mountain of conspiracy theories. Oh, really? How are the conspiracy theories doing exactly? Axios. We're up about 1,000 to 0. So the term conspiracy theory was actually created by our intel agencies in the aftermath of the Kennedy assassination because nobody believed the official story. And rightfully so. There's just one important clip that I have to play for you from a time gone by. In fact, the clip that was one of Tucker's last shows on Fox News. Is this the clip that got him taken off air at Fox News? I don't know. And neither does Tucker, I've asked. But Tucker Carlson, in one of his final shows on Fox, spoke with CIA sources about JFK's assassination. And these high-level CIA sources told Tucker something shocking. Here we go.
We decided to find out. We spoke to someone who had access to these still hidden CIA documents, a person who was deeply familiar with what they contain. We asked this person directly, did the CIA have a hand in the murder of John F. Kennedy, an American president? And here's the reply we received verbatim. Quote, the answer is yes. I believe they were involved. It's a whole different country from what we thought it was. It's all fake. It's hard to imagine a more jarring response than that. Again, this is not a, quote, conspiracy theorist that we spoke to. Not even close. This is someone with direct knowledge of the information that once again is being withheld from the American public. And the answer we received was unequivocal. Yes, the CIA was involved in the assassination of the president. Now, some people will not be surprised to hear that. They suspected it all along. But no matter how you feel about or what you thought about the Kennedy assassination, pause to consider what this means. It means that within the U.S. government, there are forces wholly beyond democratic control. These forces are more powerful than the elected officials that supposedly oversee them. These forces can affect election outcomes. They can even hide their complicity in the murder of an American president. In other words, they can do pretty much anything they want. They constitute a government within a government, mocking by their very existence the idea of democracy. As cynical as we have become after 30 years of watching government officials ignore the voters who employ them, we were shocked to learn this. It's not acceptable. Americans have trusted their government less with every passing year since the killing of John F. Kennedy. Maybe this is why. And people have known this for a long time. The people who knew would include every director of the CIA since November of 1963. And that list would include Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, one of the most sinister and dishonest figures in American life. That list would also include, we are sad to say, our friend Mike Pompeo.
The CIA has been hiding the truth about the Kennedy assassination for your lifetime and mine. Will we see some truth on this coming from Congress today? Our friend, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, made an announcement last week that says she's going to change American history forever. She announced that her and James Comer, who's the chairman of the Government Oversight Committee in Congress, will be doing a large press conference today to, and I quote, change the course of American history. The country will not be the same after what you hear from us today. Well, this is quite a tease. In just one moment, the chairman's going to join us, but here's Congresswoman Paulina Luna setting up what they're about to do in Congress.
The biggest things that I'm constantly hearing from people, and it's not just me, but I think it's been generations of congressmen, is that there was a lack of transparency in the federal government. And I think when you have that, it's actually dangerous, because that's where, conspiracy theories will form. That's where people will then lose, I think, sight and hope for their future, their nation, and then their government. And so in an effort to combat that, I have been pushing, and I'm joined now by my colleagues and have been entrusted by the Speaker of the House, by the Chairman of Oversight, and hopefully the White House to be aiding in transparency for this country. So that's your hint.
Congresswoman on our program last week said that this is going to be in line with Kash Patel's demand that there be a 24-hour declassification office for the federal secrets. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who is about to apparently change the course of American history forever, James Comer, chairman of Government Oversight, joins the program live now. Mr. Chairman, this is a pretty tasty setup here. I am sure you're not going to be able to break the news before the press conference, but can you at least give us a bit of a runway into what's about to happen at 3 p.m. today?
Well, we're trying to do what I think just about every American wants, and that's to force the government to be more transparent with the American people. There are lots of questions we have about, everything ranging from the JFK assassination to whether or not the government has any knowledge of UFOs that has been concealed. And one of the things that Tucker Carlson said that I don't know that I agree with, he may be right, but I don't know, when he says the CIA directors knew. I don't know if these deep state bureaucrats even tell their superiors, because they have the attitude that superiors come and go. There'll be a Republican administration, there'll be a Democrat administration, and they may know. But I believe that in these deep state agencies, whether it's the CIA, whether it's the FBI, whether it's the Department of Justice, the IRS, even, I believe that you have these high-ranking career bureaucrats that have never been held accountable, that they make the decision as to what a director can have, what a president can have, and maybe they can't handle the truth, and you've just got a situation where people like me and most Americans have no trust or confidence in a lot of government agencies, and we have a lot of questions that I don't think have ever been answered. And we want to work with the Trump administration, who has stated, and I believe their statement, that they want to be transparent, that they want to let the American people know what the government knew and when they knew it about lots of issues and areas, right, ranging from presidential assassinations to September the 11th, and lots of activity. So that's what we want to do. We want to work closely. Representative Luna is going to be in charge of a task force that will be focused on trying to get the American people the truth about a whole menu of items that I think if you poll, the most Americans are curious about.
So this is a really broad scope. This seems to be in line with what Kash Patel's told us on the program multiple times, which is that he wants a 24-hour declassification office. Oftentimes, what ends up happening, Mr. Chairman, is a member of Congress goes to see a document about the Bidens or Hunter Biden in a SCIF, a secure facility, and they get a fully redacted ink blot. And then they come to our program and say, they told us nothing. They literally they stopped us from even seeing the one document we wanted to see on Burisma. I'm sure you've had this frustration time and time again. I know you have. Is this what you're trying to solve?
Absolutely. And what these government agencies do, they'll take, say, the Intelligence Committee, who's a notoriously secretive committee. They'll take them down in the SCIF, which you mentioned there, the classified setting, and they'll supposedly say this is what really happened with the Trump assassination. And they're like, oh, okay, all right, well, thank you. And then they come back and say, we've been transparent with Congress. No, you've been transparent with a select few members that are on your side, that are never gonna, you can trust, are never gonna say anything, and they won't even tell me. And I write about it, in my book. I talked about it in many interviews. The few times I've been in the SCIF and being briefed by the FBI and the CIA, they weren't pleasant experiences, because they do hand you documentation that you request. And it's insulting, because, it's anywhere from 25% to 95% redacted. And you're like, why are we wasting everyone's time coming down here and you insulting our intelligence like this? We don't believe that a lot of this stuff has to remain redacted forever and in a vault in a government agency that the American people have lost confidence in forever. If we want to make sure that we have a peaceful society, we don't want to see things like insurrections happen and uprisings happen and coups happen, then we better change course with the confidence of our government, because a lot of people just don't have, especially conservatives. Conservatives have a lot of common sense, more common sense than liberals, I would argue. We don't have confidence in what the government tells us about a whole host of occurrences, and we want to do what we can to try to restore confidence and get the truth to the American people. Sunlight's the best disinfectant, and our government needs disinfected right now.
Yes, we actually have an image of your book right here. We encourage everybody to go quite the read. All the President's Money. This is something that obviously you have been on this program talking about. You're Article 1, man. Congress is Article 1. You're the first article. You have oversight of Article 2. And this is your responsibility. And the fact that you get taken down and these reluctant bureaucrats snivel and sneer at you and insult you by handing you. I mean, have you ever seen? I'm sure everybody's seen it. The entire page is just black ink.
Yeah.
And like, here's the document.
Oh yeah.
It's like these jackasses are trying. They're insulting your intelligence. They're insulting the Constitution, and they're making a mockery of the founding documents.
It's all I can do to sit in my chair and not jump over the table when they slide a document over that's just got black lines drawn to it, just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many pages they've given me. Like, I don't even go down there anymore unless it's just I absolutely have to, and I still leave mad with stuff like that. So you look at when President Trump declassified the JFK assassination. Well, he relied on a government agency to say, okay, here's all the stuff we've had hid, and he released it like he said he would do. Well, then a few weeks later it comes out, oh, that wasn't everything. There's more. So, you have to trust these government agencies to turn over what they have. And I would argue that they haven't even been honest with a lot of their superiors. So we want to really dive into this while we've got an administration that's trying to disrupt and drain the swamp, that's trying to disrupt the deep state and restore confidence in these intelligence communities. We think there's an opportunity here. And Representative Luna has a tremendous relationship with the president. She has a tremendous relationship with a lot of the people that President Trump has entrusted to be in charge of these deep state agencies that control all the secrets that Americans want to hear. Look, I believe there's stuff that should be classified. I believe there's stuff that in some instances that a majority of members of Congress would probably don't need to know. But when you're talking about the Kennedy assassination that happened before I was born, that we need, there's no reason to keep that a secret forever. And there are so many other issues and occurrences that have happened that we don't know anything about. And the conspiracy theories the media wants to talk about, they rise and they fuel anger and they fuel distrust and dissent. But what's happening here lately is a lot of these conspiracy theories with respect to the weaponized government and the fact that Joe Biden wasn't really running the White House, that he had family members that were, and that the Biden family was corrupt. A lot of those conspiracy theories ended up being true when Joe Biden fired his entire family, when press releases are coming out now that Hunter Biden was the one in the White House making all the decisions over the last 3 months. When you see that the government really was weaponized and that there was no Russian collusion and there was no organized insurrection of the Capitol. All of this leads to even more dissent and distrust. And what Representative Luna and myself, we want to do, we want people to be confident in the government. We have to have a government. We need an intelligence community. But right now, the American people don't believe anything they say. So one way to restore confidence is just be honest, be transparent about a lot of stuff that the government has kept hid from the American people.
So it's such a poignant point that you bring up right now, because there's breaking news that we broke this morning from DHS saying that they had to fire their own CFO. And I know you know quite a bit about banking records.
Yep.
This is somebody who's in charge of billions of dollars, arguably the number one person at FEMA. She had to be walked out of the building and fired for gross mismanagement, insubordination, misuse of taxpayer funds. There's no shortage of videos from her with 10 views on the FEMA website saying it's her responsibility to spend the funds appropriately that the American people have entrusted her with. This is just one of, I think, many examples of people who clearly are not behaving in a constitutional republic. Trump ordered her to not spend these dollars, and she spent the dollars behind his back. Yeah, what does that say, Mr. Chairman?
That's what they've been doing for years. They did that throughout his first term. and he's learned from that, and he's brought in all new disruptors. He's not right. He doesn't want somebody that worked their whole career in a particular agency running that agency. He wanted people like Patel and Radcliffe and Bondi that were outsiders to come in, because the old way of doing things is going to change, and we are going to get our government back in control, organize the way it's supposed to organize. Congress has the power of the purse. The president is the commander in chief, and the American people expect and deserve transparency, and that's what we're doing. And look, these Democrats, they believe in the old model. Create a government agency. If there's a problem, create a new government agency. Hire a bunch of people. Make a DEI division. Hire people that look like America instead of the best people, and give them a blank check and say, okay, use this money, USA, to feed the people in famine-raged Africa. And they will use a few pennies out of that dollar to feed those people in Africa, but then they have a slush fund. And they use their own things. We need to help fly these illegals in these private jets at 3 a.m. to Denver and Boston and Chicago, and put them up in these nice hotels and all that, and make sure they have health insurance. That's not something Congress is supposed to do. That's a unilateral decision some unelected bureaucrat made, and these bureaucrats think this is their money. They think this is their agency. And it doesn't matter whether it's FEMA or whether it's the Department of Justice or the CIA. When you have a weak president like Joe Biden, these bureaucrats, these unelected bureaucrats, have become empowered. Not only did Joe Biden, was he a weak president, he had weak cabinet secretaries. And these bureaucrats have run wild. They've said, okay, employees, you don't have to come to work. You can sit at home in your PJs and your Crocs and just to return my call when I call you, if I call you, and we'll take the money and spend it however we want. And that's what's been happening. And that's what Musk is going to discover. And that's what I think the work that Representative Luna and myself will do. Hopefully we'll just start being transparent with the American people and let them know where their money's going and what the government did, and explain why the government didn't release this information decades ago. And, just so many questions that Americans have. And this anger and distrust has built and built and built. And we're at a crucial time in America. And to save our country and to save some of these government agencies, we're going to have to change the way we do business. And Donald Trump's doing that. His cabinet secretaries are doing that. And hopefully Congress can get on board and we can assist in various ways to restore confidence.
Mr. Chairman, your committee is going to be doing its first DOJ hearing, I believe tomorrow. Is that correct?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. And so I expect some fireworks there. Nobody has spiked the ire of Democrats more than Elon Musk, which is such a fascinating target.
But Elon Musk, and then I made Marjorie Taylor Greene the chairman of that committee. So, that's like, it's more than the Democrats can handle,
So just a really quick follow-up on that. It was Elon Musk who discovered the $60 million payment. Arguably, we might not have even known about it, which is shocking, without Elon Musk's DOJ. At that hearing, obviously, what are we going to see? And with that payment, I mean, do you support criminal charges against these bureaucrats that behave like this in such a rogue manner?
Absolutely. Believe me, we have uncovered so much waste, fraud, and abuse over the past 2 years on the Oversight Committee. We had a Democrat Senate. We had a corrupt president in the White House. Now we have a Republican Senate. We have a president that wants to hold people accountable. So now is the time to hold these bureaucrats accountable. And if we don't hold them accountable, they will continue to abuse their power. They will continue to waste money. And the only way to stop it is not just exposing it, but holding them accountable criminally, at the very least, termination of their jobs. And I think that's where we're going to really make sure that this administration realizes, look, we found the ways, but we got to hold these people accountable, or our history will repeat itself when we get another Democrat president or another weak president like Joe Biden.
One final question here, and it's a topic that we haven't covered yet, but it seems to be the only defense against President Trump in these reforms and the reforms that you are bringing, sir, as these activist judges. Many bringing up this morning that it is Congress's role to potentially impeach or fund these judges in these district courts. These judges from like third world blue state backwaters are effectively trying to act as president. One judge in Rhode Island said that Donald Trump needs to report to him every single cut he wants to make. And he's going to approve all of Donald Trump's actions as president, which seems like republic-crushing stuff. Would you be in favor of the impeachment of these judges? Is there any movement for that in Congress?
It's so hard to impeach. I mean, you look, the Democrats impeached Trump twice in the House, and nothing happened in the Senate, and he just got reelected president. I mean, the whole impeachment process is very difficult. There would be so many Democrat activist judges that would need to be treated that way, probably, that it probably isn't feasible. But the way that our system's set up, you've got the three different branches. You've got the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, and you've got different levels of government. We're really supposed to entrust the judicial branch to do their own, but come in as a check and balance. The president will come in as a check and balance. I hope the American people see the two-tier system of justice and the abuse of power by these liberal activist judges and what they tried to do to Donald Trump to keep him off the ballot. Or think about it. They tried to keep him off, to kick him off the ballot. And the guy won the popular vote. He won the electoral vote in a landslide. And now they're trying to block his agenda. I think we'll do whatever we can, and we'll work with President Trump. I don't think President Trump wants us to try to impeach someone if the Senate doesn't have a will. Remember, it takes 2/3 of the vote in the Senate. And other than Fetterman, I haven't found a Democrat senator willing to work with anything that President Trump's trying to do. So, the budget reconciliation bill, which we're focused on, which will be the Trump agenda, it just takes 51 votes in the Senate. We have 53 Republicans. Surely to God, we can pass that bill through the Senate. So, when you're talking about impeachment, in all practicality, it's going to be very difficult to get that 66, 67 vote threshold in the Senate when you have 47 Democrats right now and only one that's demonstrated an ounce of willingness to do the right thing, and that's Fetterman.
It's going to be a wild midterms, man. I have a feeling that Republicans are going to grow their majorities pretty significantly in the House and in the Senate the way that things are going. Yep. Donald Trump having 70% approval ratings.
Yep.
It's going to be a really fun ride. You've been doing amazing work. A final parting shot for you, Mr. Chairman. Kash Patel, according to our sources in the Senate, Mark Wayne Mullen on the program regularly telling us Kash is set. He's good. You're going to get Kash. You've worked so closely with Kash. You've been probably the biggest thorn in your paw has been the FBI leadership and the corrupt system of operations inside the FBI. What is the first thing you want to see Kash Patel do, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I want to release a lot of the records that we've requested. We have there was a lot of obstruction in various investigations, obviously the Biden investigation, by the FBI. We have a lot of questions about some of the tactics that they pulled. We have a lot of questions about documents in their possession. A lot of questions as to who their sources were on some of the stuff that proved to be completely false. We would like to know about that. There are employees within the FBI that we have identified that have been, major players in the deep state, in the two-tier system of justice. We would like to, talk to those people. I think they should be deposed, and you could have public hearings, but I'm a big fan of depositions. I think you get more out of that. So we have a lot of hopes and requests from Kash Patel, and he and I have spoken. He met with me, and I was so happy for remembering the last meeting I had with Christopher Wray versus my first meeting with Kash Patel. I almost wanted to shed a tear. It was so much better and so refreshing. I was so happy. So I'm just, look, whatever Kash Patel does, we're already better off because of Kash Patel than we were with Christopher Wray. And I think Kash Patel understands that the issue is with the high level unelected bureaucrats in the FBI. You've got a few bad agents here and there, but for the most part, most of the agents are good people. It's the leadership. It's the career leadership. And just getting rid of Christopher Wray, that didn't solve the problem. That's a first step. That's a baby step, honestly. You got a lot of career people that he's going to have to weed out, and we're going to do everything we can to help him do that.
It's just music to our ears. It's the sacred timeline. We can't believe we're living it. You've been on the program and been such a friend of our program, telling us what could happen if we elected President Trump over the last few years, Mr. Chairman. And we're so happy that now we're in this moment, and we'll be watching. We'll be live. And so Godspeed. Everybody follow the chairman. Here, 230,000 Americans. Can't be wrong. Chairman James Comer, the bulldog of Congress. And we await with bated breath, Mr. Chairman, for your announcement this afternoon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Godspeed. Man, I can't emphasize enough how my phone was melting down this morning. I have members of my family serve in the U.S. military. Some of them are reservists, some of them are active duty. And I woke up to text messages from them with photos of Pete Hegseth working out with the enlisted men, doing PT in Germany. It's incredible. We'll pop that up for you here in a second. Pete Hegseth being the man who is leading our armed forces, saying that he doesn't want to be just a commander that goes to cocktail parties. He wants to be somebody who leads and is with the troops. Part of doing that is embracing American history and renaming Fort Bragg. Pete Hegseth renamed Fort Bragg last night, late in the evening. Pete Hegseth produced a video where he said Fort Bragg, which is a fort in North Carolina, that was renamed Fort Liberty in 2023 as part of a national effort in the Biden administration to remove the names of honored Confederate leaders. The original namesake, General Braxton Bragg, was a Confederate general from Warrenton, North Carolina, who was known, ladies and gentlemen, for his skill on the battlefield. Nonetheless, the Great Awakening in America has decided that our history is something that nobody can handle. We're too fragile to handle American history. And so it's time to do what Marxists always do, which is to melt down our monuments, to desecrate our history, to change somehow, inexplicably, language and history in order to meet the dictates of the current thing. And Pete Hegseth putting a massive boot stomp on that last night. Here we go.
There it is. Pursuant to the authority of the Secretary of Defense, Title 10, United States Code, Section 113, I direct the Army to change the name of Fort Liberty, North Carolina to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's right, Bragg is back.
I love these little videos that he does from inside of the plane. He's flying not in the Gulf Stream. The Secretary of Defense can fly in a very expensive $54 million private jet. Instead, he's flying in a C-17. And instead of going to Davos and doing cocktail parties, he's working out with the troops. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, these are from this morning. This is your Secretary of Defense doing PT with the troops. Look at Throck there. Look at this absolute skull-crushing unit right there. That's your. This is the man that has conquered every land that has ever been conquered. Has been conquered by this phenotype. Look at this. That's what we lovingly call him, Throck. This is the last thing a Canadian sees before they become the 51st state. You will put Aunt Jemima back on your syrup. This is the guy who tells them that you will officially be putting Jemima back on the bottle. These are great photos. Here's these are tough lifts, and you got to be really in shape to do this. And we put up the side by side of Lloyd Austin And Pete Hegseth saying, what an upgrade. It's gone thermonuclear viral here. Look at all, these are the enlisted that are in Ramstein, Germany. So Pete Hegseth not only like flies into a massive different time zone, but then immediately gets up, starts signing executive orders, immediately gets up and starts working out with the troops. Freaking awesome. What an upgrade. Upgrade of the century. There we go. I wonder how many push-ups Lloyd Austin could do. Let's go back to Lloyd Austin. How many push-ups do you think he can even get off the ground? How many push-ups could Lloyd Austin do? How long would he last running PT? It's so important, ladies and gentlemen, to have a commander-in-chief who cares about our troops, to have individuals who actually are there to serve. We have this video of Pete Hegseth, and it's just inspiring for me because we have members of our family. I have members of my direct family. I'm sure you do as well. Everybody knows someone who's currently actively serving or did serve. And this is. I woke up with like these inspiring videos being sent to me saying, we can't believe this timeline. We have a Secretary of Defense that actually lives with the soldiers, lives with the troops. This is what General Patton used to do. Here we go. Want to know why recruitment is skyrocketing right now in the American military? This is why. And one final thing, it is important to note, this is the C-SPAN footage of Pete Hegseth getting off just these small, humble stairs in Germany, in Munich. He's getting off of a C-17. This is a troop transport. There are no like fancy private offices in these troop transports. He's riding with the troops across an ocean to Germany. He's literally flying he's sitting there in the air cargo hold, traveling with the troops. Here, this is his wife getting off as well, and humbly traveling in the same vehicles, in the same aircraft. It just says so much. And I'm sure if perhaps you yourself are a veteran, maybe you're serving right now. We know there's a lot of service members in the audience. We say God bless you. Maybe Throck right now is watching. If Throck is watching, we just want to say your 64-ounce steak is on us whenever you're in Tampa. Although I'm not sure that would fill you up. And this is an image of toxic masculinity. This is what they went on about for the last 10 years. This is what they went on about to say this is the worst thing to ever happen to humankind. This is toxic masculinity, ladies and gentlemen. This is how America wins wars, strikes fear in their enemies, and it's how we actually save this country and Western civilization. Oh, yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our verse of the day. I just wanted to do some uplifting news here. Our verse of the day, ladies and gentlemen, from Hebrews, and well, it's a good one today. As you endure this divine discipline, speaking of working out and doing PT with the troops, as you endure this divine discipline, remember that God is treating you as his own children. Who ever heard of a child who is never disciplined by his father? It's like such an important thing to remember, especially when you're facing hardship in life, that discipline is good, that failure is good, that reaction to failure in life is everything, that everything you don't like about your life is your fault and you can change it, and that when God gives you challenges, that you face them as you were facing a father who was disciplining you. Everybody had a father who disciplined them, and you love that father. The worst children on earth are the ones who actually don't have dads, who face zero discipline. You see them all over the place, theme parks or Walmart or the pool, like these kids who lead completely nightmarish lives, who have never been told no. An important reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that discipline is from God and that God is our Father and He disciplines us like children because He loves us. Ladies and gentlemen, our love, being connected to you, is never ending. We are so thankful for you making this the #1 fastest streaming show on Earth. We are the fastest news streaming platform on the planet. This is because of you, and we are humbled and profoundly thankful for that. We endeavor to always bring you the news and to always break the news and to give it to you first. We are going to recreate what has been totally destroyed and atomized, is the corporate media behemoth funded totally by USAID to try and censor and deplatform shows like this. There has been a partner who's been with us for a very long time, who've always kept us online. That is Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is the cell phone service that we trust in order to ensure that we can stay connected to you, that we can build this audience and restore actual journalism in this country and restore truth. And so we're thankful for Patriot Mobile. Please sign up today. They're the only Christian conservative wireless provider. They have a coverage guarantee on all 3 major networks. You can make the switch today. Go right now to patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with the promo code Benny. Switch to Patriot Mobile today and defend freedom with every single call and text that you make. Visit patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. We look forward to being live for the press conference that will be later today at 3 p.m. with the great James Comer, chairman of House Oversight, and Anna Paulina Luna. So prepare to lock in, ladies and gentlemen. Here they are, cribbing our thumbnail style, which I think is great. What a compliment to our graphic designer Jamie here, and good on them. Like we're here to make a more aesthetically pleasing Republican Party. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun to build all of this with you. We're having a blast. Please join us, become a member, or just support the show by watching. You can go to BennyJohnson.com and become a member if you wish to support us. Become a member of the Benny Brigade for $5 a month. Or, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't afford that, and we understand that because we've been dead broke, you can just watch the show, and we're thankful for you. This is how we change and save the nation. And it's our great honor to do this every single day with you. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
These are the lands where my people lived before you whites first came.
I don't understand. We whites were not your first enemies. You came out of the Minnesota woodlands, armed to the teeth, and set upon your fellow man.
Nope.
Wow, holy smoke!
Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.